And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Noble Chief, who asked the question, and I've technically done this before, but this is an extended version of it with a different twist on it. Who would win in a prepped fight? Who would win in a fight with prep time? Batman, Dr. Doom, or Rick Sanchez? Three of the smartest individuals in their respective continuities. So when talking about winning in a fight that you get prep time in, and they all would have the same amount of prep time, the longest amount you could have with all the resources you have. What they're physically capable of is kind of irrelevant to a certain degree, depending on what they're capable of with the prep. Like, physically speaking, Dr. Doom and Batman would wreck Rick. But intellect-wise, Rick technically is the smartest of them, especially when we see how Rick and Morty just functions as a series. Things Rick has done, these guys could only dream of doing. But then you got to factor in resources. Well, Rick might be the smartest one, but he doesn't always have the best resources. He's got to sometimes think on the fly. So given what their resources are and the prep time they have, which is however long they need, who would win in a fight? And given prep time, they're all aware of each other. So the question is, okay, what do each of them bring to the table in a fight that could theoretically take down the other two? In Batman's case, it's unfortunately not a lot. Now, that being said, it's not that Batman, I sadly think, is the one that comes up a little short in the fight in terms of what he has capable of working with. Because let's look over to actually Doom and Rick for a second. Rick he's got just along him having the portal gun, being able to go to any reality he wants, is something these two just don't have access to. Add on to the fact that he has exosuits, he's got numerous forms of weapons, neutrino bombs, whatnot, but it's not like he has an infinite amount of resources all the time. If he needs more resources, he can technically just go somewhere, steal stuff, and get it. But he is the one who has the least easily. His resources are the hardest to get a hold of half the time. Doom, on the other hand, is just as rich as Batman. Well, I don't know if he's just as rich, but he rules his own country. He has all the resources he wants. He's a scientific genius. He's no longer a sorcerer, but he used to be a sorcerer supreme. In fact, he used to be a sorcerer supreme candidate. He was one of the best users of magic, but technologically speaking, he's honestly nearly as advanced as Bruce, if not more advanced in certain ways. Bruce, sadly, comes up a little short in that regard. He is a billionaire and has all those resources, but in terms of, magic, molecular manipulation, all that interdimensional stuff, he comes up very short in that regard. But the one thing he does have, technically he has two different Batsuits. Why? I still don't get why Death Battle didn't include the Final Batsuit, but he's got the Hell Batsuit, which is God knows powerful, and could easily take either of these two down if they're not careful. But more importantly, he has the Final Batsuit, which is pretty much the most enhanced Batsuit we have. Let's see, a Final Batsuit real quick. Batsuit. Final. There we go. Batsuit. There we go. Final Batsuit. I think that's what. Yep, there it is. How powerful is the Final Batsuit? It can easily, unlike the Hell Batsuit, which was able to mess Darkseid up, and he didn't get an actual win. In terms of actual power, the Final Batsuit was created by, I believe, it originally started as a chair called the Sunbox, device of Element X, which allowed the user to see people's hearts. Then the Final Batsuit was built around the chair, which allows the user to rewrite a person's mind cell by cell with a single blast. It has a defense system, attack mechanisms specifically designed with the League in mind, but that means it should be able to take either of these guys on, able to electrocute them for a temporary time via drones, is able to emit a powerful enough beam to trump a telepathic blast from a half Martian who are nuts powerful telepathically, is able to communicate telepathically with Superman in a far-off galaxy, and it's moved entire suns into the galaxy Superman was located in. It seems it's pretty resilient mech armor. The Nth Metal was able to slightly damage it, or at least enough to Batman feel it. Keep in mind, Nth Metal is one of the most busted metals in fiction. That has magical properties. It has energy properties. is kind of like their version of adamantium. It's nigh indestructible in its own right. It can be destroyed, but it's nigh indestructible. So the fact that this thing barely was able to be hurt by nth metal, especially Hot Girl's mace, which channels energy into the nth metal, making it stronger, is nuts. He was also known for, in issue 24, that Jarro, piece of Star, was able to destroy the suit, though it was still repaired by Batman in the end. Granted, it was not explained how Star does so. Okay, so that's whatever. Seems that Star, Jarro, or anyone with heavy metals, such as at least in hand, could maybe stand a chance of defeating the Final Batsuit. In essence, the Final Batsuit is pretty nuts. It is basically, it's not quite a multiversal suit because it's not affecting the multiverse, but it could easily beat any member of the Justice League one-on-one. That includes Superman. Batman, as I said, was moving suns into galaxies. Superman was located in the whole, if you haven't read that storyline, it's an interesting storyline. Some people didn't love that stuff. I liked it. Basically, I can't remember. I think World Forger was his name. And basically he said, yeah, you made this. This is the final Batsuit. It's the strongest Batsuit. And we're going to basically just, and the League is a danger. So basically what he did is he trapped Superman on a planet, or was a moon, one of the two, where Superman could see a sun, but he was far enough away from it where he couldn't, no matter how hard he tried, he just came that close to it and couldn't recharge from it. So he was torturing Superman with a low power death. But what Batman did was sneakily position suns just far enough, knowing that Superman would be on his last legs, to allow Superman to get there and basically rebound off of each sun, basically like charge. You ever go play, if you've ever played like a racing game where you hit the arrows and just charge your speed, basically you just go boom, 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 charge through all the suns. That's what he did. So the Final Batsuit would be Batman's biggest thing here, because he, even with prep time, he just doesn't have an answer to multiverse, or, multiverse shenanigans like Rick, or if we're going to use magic on the level of Doom. Even so, Batman would still have to contend with, if he were to try to change the mind of someone, rewrite a person's mind cell by cell with a single blast, you still have to contend with Doom's honor, which actually separates him from the rest of the world in reality, which brings us now into Doom and how he would theoretically prep for this fight. Assuming that they know all the characters, including the final Batsuit, the question is, would Rick or Doom have an answer to the Final Batsuit? Rick, yes. In fact, we've seen Rick pretty much clone himself multiple times, and even in an instant. So Rick definitely would have an answer to that. I don't know if Doom would have an answer to that. Even if he were to max out his magical capabilities. The Final Batsuit technically exists outside of, general reality. So certain levels of magic probably are not going to affect this thing. That being said, all Doom would theoretically have to do is prevent his mind from being stolen. And by all accounts, he should be able to do that. Because Doom can literally swap minds with someone without any issue. Like that. The problem is he can't do that with Batman. He can't do that with Batman for the big reason the suit would protect him from that. He literally has defense systems and attack mechanisms designed to stop the League itself. That would include a Martian Manhunter, who is one of the, if not the most powerful telepath in the DC universe. And if he can stop the Martian Manhunter, he can stop Doom from the Mind Swap. So, and Doom might be aware of this, but unlikely. Now, the question Batman would just have to deal with is, can he get through Doom's armor? That is a very difficult question to answer, because his armor has changed. It's usually like a titanium alloy, but it has had adamantium put into it. It's also enhanced with magic, mystically enhanced. It survived a shot from the damn Infinity Gauntlet, which would easily, if it's not more powerful than the Final Batsuit, which it probably is. It's, in fact, yeah, I'd argue it probably is. It's still at least comparable. So yeah, Batman could easily just rip the suit off Doom if Doom's not careful. That's where Doom bots would come in. And Batman would have to deal with the Doom bots. So the question now becomes, does Doom have an answer to the Final Batsuit? That I don't know. Like I said, as powerful as the level of magic he learned was, A, he doesn't have it anymore, but B, even if I'm letting him have it, I don't know how much of that magic works on a suit like this, made kind of outside of that level of reality and designed to take on League users, which would include magic level users too. Now, granted, I think that what they talk about the League, they are talking about like the core League, but still, it's most likely got contingency for just about every League member. That'd be like a Zatanna, a Dr. Fate, who was at least comparable to Doom. So, and apparently it can also just create defense mechanisms on the fly if it needs to. But I've always liked, hold on, I'll get an image of it real quick. Let's see, image, window capture, Final Batsuit. Yeah, I've always liked the look of the Final See, the Hell Batsuit's pretty badass. That looks like a damn suit of armor right there. That, I don't know, I liked a bit more mech design when it comes to the Final Batsuits. Or for the Bat armors, if you will. But now we got to talk about the dark horse in this fight. And honestly, the one I think is probably the most likely to win. Rick. And spoilers, I do think Rick is the most likely to win. Whereas the one thing I have pretty much given Rick is if he were to just meet either of these guys in a straight physical fight, he'd get his ass handed to him. But beyond that, he also technically lacks the abundance of resources, or the ready abundance of resources. But if we're giving him prep time, that means he can go out and get all the resources he needs. And we've seen what Rick can build just out of his shovel of massive stuff. I mean, look at his ship. It's literally built out of garbage. And it flies, holds atmosphere in his ship. It can basically do light speed. And Rick built that out of scraps. You give Rick prep time. The fact that he is constantly moving through universes, dimensions, and all that. So he has the greatest amount of knowledge among these two about this kind of stuff. The fact that he would be going in to prep against these guys, specifically going for weaknesses. The fact that they're both humans, so that's their weakness. The fact that Rick has methods to protect his mind a lot of time. He constantly has like force fields, cybernetic enhancements, snake beams. I think Rick, if you're giving Rick prep and giving him the resources he needs to go into the fight, I think Rick wins this fight easily. Easily. Now, that being said, Rick is not the end-all be-all. Rick has been beaten multiple times, but Rick has gone in, like when he fought the Zeus, for example, he held his own for a while, but he ultimately got his ass kicked. But Rick wasn't going into that fight prepared to fight a Zeus. He was prepared, it was just spontaneous moment kind of thing. And so, yeah, if Rick was prepped, it'd be a very different story. In fact, all the scenarios where Rick kind of gets his ass kicked, he's not prepped for the fight. He's just kind of going in haphazardly. Any moment where Rick has been prepared for something, then Rick has been fine. So I would probably say this would go to Rick simply because he's the smartest of the three. So he's got the most knowledge. He constantly is dealing with dimensional multiverse shenanigans, so he knows how to would know ways to maybe get around these guys. Nothing else, just trap them in a different dimension they can't escape from. Depower them, get like a depower beam, whatever, and just trap them in a dimension, and that's game over. Turn them into a snake with a snake gun, squish them, whatever. Even if Doom tried to swap minds with Rick most likely would be like, cool, now you give me this. Unfortunately, I don't think you really know how to use that. What? So, thanks, now I got this cool body. Oh my god, you look like this? Hold on. It's like, what? You? It's like, yeah, you didn't ever try to fix your face? Like, what? Same with Batman. Like, at that point, like, and if he swaps, like, with Batman now, it's like him and Batman going toe-to-toe. Rick still has all the intellect he has, so he just switches his body, regrows himself into a new body, end of story. So, yeah, I would probably go, if you're giving both these guys equal prep with the best resources they can get, which Rick can steal just about anything, I'm going to Rick Sanchez. Now, if Rick was out of the fight, I would probably lean towards Batman, but this is assuming that the Final Batsuit is able to kind of neg a lot of what Doom could throw out. Particularly the magical stuff, if Doom is still using magic. Because if Doom isn't using magic, then I'm sorry, Doom is actually getting crushed in this fight. Because as powerful as Doom is, and he is extremely powerful. You go up against a final, hell, even going up against the Hell Batsuit would probably be a suicide mission, even with his armor and all and everything there. Well, no, because he can mind swap. That might anything but the Final Batsuit would actually be Doom's favor. But we're seeing as we're talking about prep and everything they have, Final Batsuit's got to be included. So yeah, I got to assume Batman would take that fight, especially if you're not giving him magic. Now, if you are giving him magic, I think it's still going to lean towards Batman because he's got contingencies for most league members, at least, especially the main league. But I don't know if he's got any contingency for magic in that. I don't think it ever came up. Look, ultimately, I go Rick Bat's Doom. Rick Bat Doom. That's how I would see it go down, but that is just my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.